Rehman Rahim, Honorable Ambassador Dr. Shahid Amin, Prime Ministers, Ambassadors, journalists, and I should say the stars of the today. Especially, you are trying with your efforts to make the world green. And before I start my speech, my board has decided today that I should announce today for Dr. Shahid Amin a special award as International Green Ambassador for the world.
MashaAllah, welcome, thanks.
Your efforts.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And it is in recognition of your day and night, which I have been watching not only in person, through the media, through the Twitter, through the newspapers. And I'm so happy that you have got all of them. And what I know, what you have briefed me, and all of the faces which I can see, smiling faces, they are all well known in the world. And you know, the services of Rehman Malik are very eminent. I can say a bureaucrat, I can say a politician, I can say a person who has done a lot for the society. To start with, I must say that we are here as a creation of nature. God created us as one of the creatures which you and me see today, every day. And God loved greenery. God still loves greenery. And before Adam and Eve, greenery came to this world. And if you see the famous tree, which we call wheat, if the trees were not there, how could that wheat can come, which could exploit both of them? Having said so, greenery is an important part and parcel of life. Your Excellencies, we have so many laws, so many treaties, treaty on biovirus, treaty on mass destruction of arms. But let me say, with my 50 years experience of civil service, politics, I'm sorry, these treaties are made for you and me to discuss all that. Treaties are nothing unless they are governed by law. When I say law, I mean to say enactment. When I say enactment, I mean enactment actually introduced at the international level, which is UN. I'll give you one or two examples. Forgive me, I may take a few more minutes from your time. If you recall, in late 90s, a syndrome of money laundering was too much in the world. And everybody was talking of money laundering, but there was no such law at international level which could stop that, which could block that. And then all of us, stars like you, who are sitting in the assembly as a member states, they decided, no, let us come forward. Let's come forward with some plausible solution. And that solution came into the form of a charter to fight against corruption. A charter came against the money laundering. And you saw it. It's being implemented. Now, FATF is, of course, a separate identity which is handling it. It's not the forum I should be talking about. But fact remains that there is an effective control on money laundering and part of corruption, because as a PEP, I'm sure most of you are PEP, the Prime Minister of sitting here, especially Gaustav, would appreciate that even he cannot open an account in his own country because he's a politician. So there are so many restrictions, and everybody has accepted very happily anything which is going good for the international community, we should be doing it. Now, having said so, now today, I noted one thing, that almost everybody spoke about COVID, because it has directly come like a skylab on us. And we are worried about us, about children, about our families, friends, and hence we are thinking always what to do with COVID, how we can get out of it, what are the remedies for it. Ladies and gentlemen, excellencies, within 3 weeks of the COVID having been actually emerged, I wrote this book. I'm not a doctor. I'm, of course, doctor of criminology, but not a medical doctor, not a virologist, not a biologist. So I decided to make some research. But my topic was different. Threat to the national security, biowarfare, or real violence. We all run to the hospitals for oxygen when we have COVID. Why can't we think this way? There has been a reduction in the oxygen, what we inhale. We inhale more carbon dioxide than even oxygen. God has kept this very ingredient in our life to clean our blood. Perhaps it is because of this pollution that the disease picked and moved faster. And I have my study in it, that those countries which do not have industrialization, pollution, they are much better off from COVID. And if you see the thickly populated countries like India, I wish and I pray to Almighty Allah that my Indian brother and sister get well soon. And this pandemic which is there, it must vaporize away, because humanity is something which needs to be respected. Now I will relate the humanity with the trees, because I say they are living things. If you go in the morning for a walk, you look at the trees, and the trees in fact give you a lot of good ideas. I'm a poet, I'm a writer of 7 books. Interestingly, when I go out to the mountains in the nature, I write better on that night, because it gives you a kind of energy. So trees are basically there to give you energy. So I say, when we have law, if somebody kills somebody, there is section of law in every country that he has to be chopped off, or he has to be in the prison for life. When you cut a tree, in fact, you finish a tree. So what I mean to say, that while we are talking to the UN, and especially I would like to draw the attention of Dr. Sab, you are in the, of course, human rights side, and you have done a lot, Dr. Amin, for the world, for which not only as a human being, or we all are proud of you, Pakistan is proud of you for all that what you're doing day and night. I have something to inform you, and I have made that law for trees. Like you have a law for human beings, let there be a law for them. They are living beings. And you know, we all have some religion which you are following. Take the example of Christianity, Muslimhood, Judaism, any religion. There is nothing mentioned that you should cut a tree or you destroy a tree. You know, our Prophet, Hazrat Muhammad, he said the best thing you do when you go as a guest somewhere, if you do not have anything to give, just plant 2 trees before you leave. Just plant 2 trees before you leave. As similarly, in Christianity, if you see the Bible, read the Bible, it has got the preferences. We have deviated what our forefather and our religions have been telling about what is green. We need to make the world green. Unfortunately, we talk a lot. I talk a lot, being a politician. You also talk when you go to a different forum. Mr. Prime Minister, you are Prime Minister. I was Interior Minister, having served longest time in my country. Also, advisor on the narcotics. I've served my parliament more than 10 years. I have been consistently raising these points, but unfortunately, no government pays to any heed to it, because it is not important. It has not come to the level of COVID. Today, If there is no rain, it becomes a desert, no vegetation. People can move from one place to 100 miles away. What will happen when this whole world will get into desert? Where will we go? Will these satellites take us up? At the moment, there are 2,500 satellites which are moving around the orbit. And out of that, daily, 250 to 300 pieces are broken. When they move out of the orbit, they become even more ignoble. They are like a big fire. They are all adding towards pollution. I'm not saying that we should stop the industrialization. Of course, with the modern world, we need it. But there is one word which even the world has thought of it, the green fuel. Less emission. Where are we? We have to do it. Gentlemen, I'm not promoting a particular product, but with one of my friends, a scientist from Australia, who had invented green fuel, and voluntarily I invested, voluntarily I'm helping. It is based in US. Even we can reduce emission of 2% down, we can make a lot of difference, Your Excellencies. As we speak, the temperature which has risen up is 1.5. God forbid if it goes to 2, the species will die. The trees will suffer. And see what is happening to the sea life. We need to work something as a world, as a global village. We are no more scattered in longer continents. Just together, we are forgetting one very important aspect. And I have fought that war for a good 15 years. In my country, in the hands of Taliban, whom I gave the name of Zalman. Same goes with Afghanistan. And Your Excellencies, I'm telling you my personal experiences. When I ordered operation in Swat and Malakan, after taking aerial view, the trees were just kissing each other, they were so much. And when we won the war and sent those all Taliban out, most of them were burnt out because they were using as a fuel. They had done a trade on that. It's an expensive item when it's a matured wood. So don't forget, war is another issue which will destroy our not only world, but also this pollution will be more. Anything when it burns, it produces CO2. Hiroshima is not far to remind us what can happen. And see how many countries are having at the moment the nuclear bombs, nuclear small weapons. Your Excellency, have we thought of it? Can we reduce it? Are we fighting for each other's land, their resources? Is it written in our holy books that in this century you have to fight and you have to produce nuclear atoms to fight your own human being friends? No. I'm sorry, and forgive me if somebody is from the world power sitting here. I wrote an article even day before yesterday on Afghanistan, which is suffering, and see how barren it has come. Because of bombs, people are scared. I have traveled undercover through Afghanistan as a former Director General of FIA. I could see the fears on the faces of the children of the war and the effects of the war which had already happened. I have a question to the world, including the world powers. What have you attained from Afghanistan war? Fine. You had your ego very fully satisfied by luring in USSR to this region, got us also to jump foolishly. And the way it is going on, it's very bad. My friends are from Africa sitting. You see what's happening and what those Nigerian Babaka is doing, which is stopping for the children to go to school. And see how they have, in fact, they are ingressing into Africa. Well, America can see a needle on the floor. Can't they see what the hell is going on there? Can't they see that? What they are going in Iraq? Is it not air pollution? Is it not destruction? We lost 70,000 people in Pakistan. Perhaps with air pollution, there might be 100 deaths. But the new pollution instruments, which are actually multiplying day by day. I'm writing a book on these tools soon, inshallah. I'll give it to the world based on my own experiences. I'm sorry, I must be boring you with a little longer speech. But let me tell you, this is the time. We have to fight for us, fight for our future generation. I actually love the personality of Mr. Mamoon Kazi, because I had worked with him as a young officer, as a Director General of the FIA, like DGFBI and US. And then I had the chance to meet him when I was Interior Minister. And I know how he was put in jail. And I spoke to then Prime Minister, take him out. A day is not far, you are going to be his place. It's a circle, it moves. So what I'm trying to tell, I'm not a preacher. I may be a bad guy in the eyes of Allah, but at least I know this, that we must create environments of love and affection. And that is only possible when the world power decides to talk of democracy. They are champion of democracy. And I had the courage to talk to President Obama directly to him, to President Bush in his office, and in the Interpol long meetings. I said, whatever you are doing, this does not display democracy. Because if one country has got the veto power to decide for the whole world, what kind of democracy are you talking? If there is a coup in a country, you go there, sanctions. But who's going to put these sanctions on you, my dear America, my dear West, my dear FATF, my dear 9 Gs? Who's going to do it? Who is suffering? Us, the third world. The third word. I'm using the third word again and again, because what is happening and how much money has G9 paid for the environmental purposes? They only give you money to just grow and then pull back, increase the prices, get bad in the eyes of your public. That's what exactly it is happening, Excellencies. What I mean to say, this is the time that we have to stand in UN. And we have to tell them as to what is the right way. And the right way is, when you are doing something for environment, let the power of veto power should be thrown in the sea, like OBL was thrown in the ocean. There's the time, because the people want that. Trust me, West. The West world does not know how the third world is going through after COVID. See the price list, see the price of the medicines, they're all suffering. I will give a small suggestion, 2 or 3 suggestions. I'll not take more time. I know I've taken more time. Thank you, Dr. Shahid Amin, for giving me little liberty, and I hope my friends won't mind. I propose that the world must bring something like a bank of green trees. And in fact, I have given a name to it, that let this be like a green tree bank, International Green Tree Bank, and tie it with some suggestions and some incentives. Like in the past, United Nations did work. You plant a tree and we'll give you certain points. And I don't want to say who are those great leaders who have made money in this region and how it was misused. Now, it is a charter that let there be a 30% at least plantation. Okay, fine. There is always a monitoring system. So let them make this bank, and whatever number is planted in a country, that should be deposited in that bank, meaning thereby Pakistan has planted, let us say in this quarter, let's say 600 or 1,000 trees. It should be part and should be verifiable and should be regulated. I'm sure it will happen. And of course, there should be a law. If this does not come back to the UN, then there should be some sanction to that country as to why it is not being done. And last, which I have given an enactment to my country, if you like, you also can replicate it. Perhaps I would have been ignored, but having served in civil service, I'm a 70-year-old man, having 50 years my service at my disposal, and I have tried to learn my every day. I think when the town planners are planning a house or a building or anything related to construction, they should not give NOC if a small house does not plant 10 trees. A developer brings about 200 trees around it. What will happen? It will become a compulsion. If we start today, in 10 years' time, we'll have a number of trees. And I will give this draft of this enactment, which I have prepared. I made a draft, gave it to a very good legal expert, and he has also vetted it. I will give it to Dr. Saab, and I hope he will give all it to you to go through it. The final word, it's not only tree cutting, it's not only not tree planting. We need to curb our thousands of satellites spying on others. There is some positivity also, but its emission level has to be brought down. All industrialization in countries, that emission has to go down. And that can only come through an international law. The law in France, the treaty which has been signed in France, I'm sorry, it has not given a binding on a government to create a law which should be actually implemented as per the sovereignty of this country, exactly like the money laundering. And if they started today, let's say after 2 weeks, I'm sure, I think our presence here, that meeting has earned something. We have done something for the humanity. There's no doubt Africa is green. I pray, Mr. Prime Minister, that it continues. But what about us? We are becoming barren because of pollution, poverty, and the way the pollution is increasing by manifold. My friend, Rehman Malik, he has a lot of study on it. When he talks, he will tell you a lot about it. Let's learn to live with love, with less anger, respect the nations who are voiceless, like Kashmir. I can't say how much is in my heart And what I want to say here, but maybe one day I will request Mr. Shahid to get, perhaps I'll give a small lecture, not a speech, a lecture. 550 days, a nation has been put into curfew. They are unable to get the vaccine. They are unable to get food. My sisters and brothers are suffering because of that. My mothers and my sisters can't go to the hospitals. I'm a very strong man. I never had tears in my eyes. But while expressing to the international community, I feel like telling you that I have the knowledge. I get this information. They are suffering. Where is the international community sleeping? Is it not an environmental fact? Is it not an environmental issue? I hope that anything which hurts your heart, which hurts human body, why are we trying to have green world? So that our bodies are not hurt. We keep actually breathing the proper oxygen to save ourselves and keep us alive. The Kashmiri has the right to live. And finally, I pray to Almighty Allah and all those who matter in this world that take the trees like your brothers. I don't know, I can't differentiate between female and male trees, but I say treat them your brother and sisters. They are living beings. Bring law for them. Punish those who cut the trees, those who actually inflict trees. Let there be 10 to 15 punishment in a country. I can assure you the deterrent effect will come and it will multiply in many ways. And I promise you that this enactment, which I've actually stated, it will go to my parliament very soon. And I must say, Dr. Shadbhai, it is all your initiative. And I would, my board of IRR, which has decided to give you this award, I would like all of them next time present, and I will host, even you want in Pakistan, are here, and please continue this good work. And don't miss Mr. Malik. He is a great asset to Pakistan, and he will remain a great asset to you. And I will be serving you like an assistant to you at your disposal anytime you want. Thank you very much. And the last, I pray for Mamoon, Qazi Mamoon, and his family. They have suffered, and let's hope you come back in power. And in the end, I would like to thank Amina, the co-host. In the beginning, I missed a few words, but she spoke very well. The president of Ecuador had given very good words. Prime Minister, you also, Guinea Bissau, have given good words. And I have been hearing a lot about you from Ambassador Shahid. And I hope to see you back in power. We need good people like you in power. And thank you, everybody. God bless you. And I pray that Almighty Allah put something in the heart that we have some kind of sympathies for the trees who are our sisters and brothers. Thank you very much. God bless you. Thank you.